of Christ College IJK. Welcome to RISMA 2021, Reason Innovations in Statistical Methods and Applications, International Webinar Series organized by the Department of Statistics in association with IQAC, Christ College Autonomous Irinjalakuda, as a tribute to our retiring head of the department and controller of examinations, Dr. Davies Anthony Mundasheri. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Let's begin by seeking God's grace.
സത്തായും ചിത്തായും സർവസ്വാത്മാവായും സത്യത്തിൻ തത്വമേ നീലസിപ്പൂ കാണായവയ്ക്കെല്ലാം കണ്ണിൽ പൊരുളായി കാണപ്പെടാതെ ഇരിക്കുവോനേ ഞാനൊരു മൺതരി മാത്രമാണെങ്കിലും നൂനമവീടുത്തെ സൃഷ്ടിയല്ലോ കൈവിടാതെ നീ കാരുണ്യ കാതലെ കൈവല്യദാതാവേ കൈത്തൊഴുന്നേ.
May I now request Dr. Jane A. Luke, Associate Professor, Newman College, Thodupuzha, to introduce our first speaker for the day. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Are you audible? Are you audible?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Respected Chairperson of the meeting, Dr. Davis Mundasheri, distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Dr. S.C. Malik sir, organizers of the meeting and participants of the program. Good afternoon to all. Innovations in statistical methods and applications organized by Department of Statistics, Christ College, Thirichirappalli. I am happy to introduce to you Dr. S.C. Malik. He is working as professor and head Department of Statistics, the Maharshi Dayanand University, Rohtak, Haryana. We are really privileged to have such an eminent personality to lead today's session. His research domain includes reliability theory and modeling and applied statistics. He has over 27 years of teaching experience, including administrative experience. It is notable that he has already supervised 35 doctoral theses. If I describe his academic activities, it will take hours. So, for the sake of brevity, I am mentioning only the significant events. Professor Malik has authored 3 books. He has over 175 research publications, including impact factor-rich international journals. Dr. Malik has visited many foreign nations, including US, UK, Germany, Russia, Japan, France, Spain, to mention a few. Apart from that, he is a member of many academic bodies, including UGC. He is also peer reviewer of many prestigious academic journals. Please note that he has participated and chaired many international and national workshops and conferences. Today, Dr. Malik will be enlightening us on the topic reliability analysis of non-repairable systems. Respected Professor Dr. Malik, I welcome you to the program. Welcome, sir.
Yes. And thank you, madam, for a brief, nice introduction about me. And really, I am very grateful to see you, all of you, that and you for inviting me to deliver this talk in this very uh, academic event. So really, I'm grateful to the college for organizing such an academic event. And for this, I'm very grateful to the organizers for inviting me. So thank you, all of you. Very good evening to all of you. So today I have been asked to interact with the audience with a specific theme, that is reliability analysis of repairable systems. Yes. So today we are going to discuss something about reliability analysis of non-repairable systems. Okay, so it is a very interesting topic nowadays. Why this topic is interesting nowadays? Because it involves the mathematics, statistics, reliability engineering, computer science. So it involves a teamwork from all these disciplines. That's why we call it, this area is an important area for the research point of view. So question arises, how we can study the systems and how we can determine the reliability of the existing systems. The systems may be of different time, maybe repairable systems, maybe non-repairable systems. But through this talk, I will concentrate only on the reliability analysis of non-repairable systems. So here we have a path for this talk. We shall discuss something about the historical background and importance, and then some fundamentals, reliability data, and some case studies. Then we make some conclusion and the motivational studies. So now, if we consider the historical background of this area, actually, reliability theory is the demand of modern technology used in World War II. In World War II, there was a large-scale failure of electronic equipments, particularly the electronic tubes, which were having the failure more than expected. Since then, various laboratories and universities started work to know the causes of failure of the electronic items. And several committees were formed at that time to know the causes of the failures of these electronic equipments. In this direction, a first time a committee was formed in 1950. That committee is known as Advisory Group on Reliability of Electronic Equipments, called AGRI. The purpose of this committee was only to probe the causes of failure of the electronic equipments and also to know how we can develop our system in a better way so that the system can be more reliable to use. So that was the main purpose of that committee. Thereafter, several other countries started work in the direction, particularly in Japan and Germany, initiated work in the direction, and they tried to use the applications of reliability principles to their products. And nowadays, in most of the industries, we have a team to assess the reliability of the products so that the customers can be attracted more and more towards the products. Otherwise, there will be a huge loss of the money, in terms of the money and reputation. So in 1953, a paper was written by Epstein and Sobel. In that paper, they popularized the choice of exponential distribution in live testing research because they considered the constant failure rate of the systems. In case of constant failure rate, we have no option other than to take the help of the exponential distribution. So that paper becomes the milestone to propagate the research work in this direction. And thereafter, in 1965, Barlow and Proston wrote book that is the mathematical theory of reliability. And after appearing this classical book, lot of research work have been carried out in this area, reliability theory and modeling. So these are the few considerations for which the research work in this area propagated. So if we see the importance of this area, definitely in any research area, there is a need to identify the importance of the research in that area. The importance, we may consider the importance in several ways. But if we see the importance of the research work in reliability theory, there is a need to understand why this area is important for the research point of view. It is because of the reputation. If we see the product, then the reliability of that product is very closely related, is very helpful in improving the reputation of the manufacturing industry. So reputation is very closely related with the reliability of the product of a particular industry. If the product is more reliable to use, then more chances of favorable chances for the reputation. The second point of the importance is the customer satisfaction. Because if our customers are satisfied with the use of the products, then definitely it helps in improving the image of the manufacturing industry. So customer satisfaction is highly mandatory, or you can say high reliability is a mandatory requirement for customer satisfaction. The another aspect of the importance of reliability is that warranty cost. If we have a product with appropriate reliability or considerable reliability, then definitely the warranty cost will be less as compared to the other product. Why warranty cost? Warranty cost means that if we produce a particular item, then there is a need to sell it in the market. And if we sell it in the market, we have to mention some specifications on the product. The product will work under these conditions and will work properly up to so and so period. So we provide sometimes a warranty period. So in that warranty period, we can assume that the system will work properly. We can assume the system will work properly. And that's why if system will work properly, at least for a given period of time, then definitely the maintenance and repair problems will be less in that period. And so it will help in reducing the warranty cost. So because of these reasons, the importance of reliability is there. Now it also helps in repeating the business. If the produce or the item produced by a particular industry is very reliable to use, then definitely we shall again and again purchase such type of items. So it helps in repeating the business. Another thing is that cost analysis. If the product is reliable, then definitely the entire cost will be less, or we can say the life cycle cost of that item will be less as compared to the non-reliable product. So although there is no doubt in it that to produce a reliable product is very difficult because it involves huge amount of cost. If we see the reliability data of such type of structures, then definitely we have several studies which prove that to improve a small fraction of reliability of a product, it involves a huge amount of cost. So, but if we have a reliable product, then definitely the purchasing cost may be high initially, but if we see the entire life cycle cost, then definitely the entire life cycle cost will be less as compared to the other unreliable products. So that's why there is a need to study or to carry out research work so far as reliability is concerned. Then there is always a competitive advantage of the reliable product or the others. If we conduct a survey in the market, then definitely we will find that there will be a competitive advantage of the reliable product or the others. It is always true. So because of these aspects or points, the research work in this area is important nowadays. So we need to follow the instructions as given in the subscription or as given in by the manufacturers. So these are the few points which can be considered for the importance of the reliability theory and reliability aspects. So now question arises, what is a system? Generally we discuss in day-to-day routine work the failure because of the system. Now question arises, what is a system? System means it is a collection of components. Definitely, every system is made up of components, collection of components arranged according to some specific designs in order to achieve the desired functions with acceptable performance and reliability measures. So in a clear-cut way, or in a specifically, we can say that system is a collection of components in which components are arranged according to a specific designs in order to achieve the desired functions with acceptable performance and reliability measures. Now, question arises, what types of systems we can have? The systems may be simple, the systems may be complex. Now, we shall today discuss the reliability analysis of a non-repairable system. But before that, there is a need to identify the repairable system. Repairable system means the system which can be used again and again after repairing the fault units or after making replacement of the fault units. Such type of systems are repairable systems. Generally, if we see the case of computers, automobiles, airplanes, in such type of systems are repairable systems. Because in case of repairable systems, we can restore. Repairable systems can be restored to the operating conditions without replacing entire system. In repairable system, no need to replace the entire system because replacement of the entire system involves huge amount of cost. So sometimes we need to repair a part or the component or a subsystems. So in repairable systems, there is a need to restore the operating conditions without replacing entire system. Now, in case of repairable system, lifetime. What is lifetime? Lifetime means the entire operational systems, operation of the systems. So lifetime is the age of the system. In case of repairable system, it is the entire age or total hours of operations in case of repairable system. It is random variables of interest in case of repairable systems are times between failures. We need to estimate the times between failures and number of failures at a particular age. Then the failure rate, what will be the failure rate in case of repairable system? In case of repairable systems, the failure rate is the rate of occurrence of failures, is the rate of occurrence of the failures. That is, you can say a property of a sequence of failure times. Failure times, the rate of occurrence is the failure rate, or it is a property of the sequence of failure times. But now, what are non-repairable systems? The systems which cannot be repaired, which are in which the repair is not possible. Sometimes if you see a system, in a system, there may be some components which cannot be repaired and no use. And if we repair, then they can deteriorate the operation or they can deteriorate the performance. So in that situation, no need to repair. So we have several non-repairable systems. Just like one-shot devices, we can say bulb. If we consider the case of electric bulbs, in case of electric bulbs, there is no need to repair after its fuse is occurred. No need to repair. So such type of systems are non-repairable. Pacemakers. But nowadays, technology has advanced and now we have some LED systems. In case of LED systems, the repair is possible now. But in the initial days or in the previous years, the bulbs were not in the position to repair. So bulbs are non-repairable systems. So one-shot devices all are non-repairable systems. In case of non-repairable systems, discarded upon failure, they are discarded. Non-repairable systems are discarded, or we sometimes need to recycled upon failure. Lifetime is simply a random variable in case of non-repairable systems described by single time to failure. That is because in case of repairable systems, we need to get the repair of the faulty items. So that's why it means the reliability is just the up to the failure. But again, we need to get its operation back through repair mechanism. So availability is the main measures in case of repairable systems. But in case of non-repairable systems, reliability is the main aspect, because in case of non-repairable systems, if a component fails, then no need to get its repair, only to replace it or to throw it or to discard it. It means we need only to note the survival time up to the failure. So in this case of non-repairable systems, only reliability aspect is important. In case of repairable, availability aspect is important. Availability aspect means that is the maintainability and reliability both. Availability is the combination of both reliability and maintainability. But in case of non-repairable, we need only to assess the reliability. That's why the title of this talk is Reliability Analysis of Non-Repairable Systems, in which repair is not possible, either not possible or not required, maybe because of the whose cost involved in getting the things repaired. So we shall discuss the reliability analysis of non-repairable systems only. Now, we have several structures in a system, because the performance of any system depends on the structure of its components. If the system has a better structure, better design of the components, then definitely the results will be more reliable, and the performance of the system will be better as compared to the other systems in which the structure is not up to the mark. So generally we discuss three types of structures, for series, parallel, and then they're mixed, or we can call it series structure, parallel structure, series parallel structure, parallel series structure, and we have several other structure also, K out of N structure. Non-series parallel structures are also we have there. So we have some important structures. We shall discuss these structures for and in case of system structures, because system structure is very important to improve the performance of the system as a whole. And then we discuss some reliability measures. Reliability measures, here we have only to discuss reliability and mean time to system failure. What is reliability? Reliability means the probability of no failure of the system. Probability of no failure of the system, at least for a given period of time. If so, it is probability. So it lies between 0 and 1, because no system can work forever. But initially, we can assume that the system will be available for use. So initially, we take reliability is a function of time, RT. RT, reliability is a function of time. If we take small t as the time for which system is supposed to work, and capital T is the time which is observed that the system is failed at that time, capital T, then reliability is given by probability that capital T is greater than small t. That is, the failure of the system occurred only after the given period of time. So that probability is the reliability. So it is a reliability, is a probability, so it lies between 0 and 1. It is always a non-increasing function. Initially, we can assume that the system is fully reliable, but no system can work forever. That's why at the end, reliability will be 0. The system will be completely destroyed. So R0 is infinity, R0 is 1, and R infinity is 0. Now, another measure is mean time to system failure. Mean time to system failure is the expected time before the system completely failure. If we take capital T is the time, survival time of the system, or you can say time to failure, then expected value of capital T is just, you might be knowing that it is the integral from 0 to infinity T into Ft dt. Ft is the failure density function. So if we integrate this, then it will be the integral of reliability from 0 to infinity. That is, MT sub in terms of reliability is given by MT sub equal to integration from 0 to infinity RT dt. And because sometimes we need to study the system for a long run, but we cannot wait 10 years, 50 years, 100 years. In that situation, we need to use the Laplace transform technique. And by taking Laplace transform of the reliability, we can have the mean time to system or mean time to system failure up to the long run, which is given by limit s tends to 0 r star s. R star s is the Laplace transform of the reliability. So we have very interesting relationship between reliability and mean time to system failure. So through this talk, we shall discuss these 4 types of structures and their reliability and mean time to system failure. Yes, we have now very interesting data. If you see this data enables us to know why the system structure is important to improve the system performance. From this, we can understand, yes, structure of the components is very important to improve the system reliability. Suppose if we consider a system, our interest is to achieve the system reliability 0.95. 0.95 means our interest is to develop a system which is 95% reliable to use. And now another question arises, what types of, how many components are required? Suppose our interest is to develop the system with 10 number of components. The another question is whether the components are identical in nature or not. Suppose we take identical components. We take 10 identical components. Identical components means they have the same failure time distributions, same failure rates, having other properties same. So we are considering here 10 identical number of components to achieve a system reliability 0.95. Then the question arises, what types of components we need, or you can say how poor we can take the components. What will be the reliability of the components to achieve the reliability of the system 0.95? And now another question is, in what structure we can use the components to achieve this reliability. If we take 10 components in a particular system for which the objective is to achieve the reliability 0.95, and suppose we join these 10 components in a series structure, then in that situation, we need component reliability 0.9949. What does it mean? It means for a series structure, the system reliability will be less than the components reliability. It means we should not suggest to connect the component in series so far as system reliability improvement is concerned, because our objective is to achieve system reliability 0.95. But for achieving system reliability 0.95 with 10 number of identical components, then we need the component reliability 0.99, which is very high value so far reliability is concerned. To prepare or to develop a component of 90% reliability is very difficult. It involves huge amount of cost. Then another angle is, that's why we need to think on another way. If we join these components in parallel structure, in that situation, we need only the component reliability just 0.2581. Oh, very, very small amount. This, it means if we compare the reliability of these two structures, definitely we can suggest that the parallel structure of the component is better than that of the series structure. So we should always prefer the parallel structure of the components rather than series structure, so far as reliability is concerned. Now we have another options. We have several other options. Series parallel structure. If we take series parallel structure, in case of series parallel structure, we have what is the meaning of series parallel means? We have a number of subsystems which are connected in series, but in each subsystems we have components connected in parallel. So we call series parallel structure. So, but our interest is to only to achieve the component system reliability 0.95 with the same number of components 10. Then how we can construct, how we can design these components in a series parallel configuration with say 10 number of components. We can design these 10 components in two different ways. The first is if we can take 5 subsystems in series, each having 2 components in parallel. Then in that situation, we need component reliability 0.89. What does it mean? But this is still better than the series, but very, very poor than that of the parallel. So we cannot prefer this or parallel, but we can prefer this or series structure, purely series structure. Another way is we can take 2 subsystems in series and each having 5 components in parallel. In that situation, we need component reliability 0.5206. Oh, this value is less as compared to the above one. So, but is better than that the series. What does it mean? But this is better than the previous one. That is 5 subsystems with 2 components. This is better. Now another we have structure parallel series. What does it mean? In case of parallel series, we have some subsystems which are connected in parallel, but in each subsystem, the components are connected in series. So we have the same example of 10 components. If we take 2 subsystems in parallel with 5 components in series and with the same objective 0.95, we need the component reliability 0.9506. And if we take 5 subsystems in parallel, each having 2 components on series, then we need the component reliability 0.6714. So through this reliability data, what we conclude that, yes, the component structure plays an important role in improving the system reliability. So we should give more concentration on the structure or configuration of the components to improve the system reliability. Otherwise, if we have a bad structure, then definitely that structure will not be helpful in improving the reliability or will not perform the task in a proper way. So proper way is the best structure. So structure plays a vital role in improving the components or system reliability. So this data, through this data we can understand. So now we shall discuss the case studies, how we can determine the reliability of these structures. So we are considering here the first case, series structure in which n components are connected. And because these are the non-repairable components, the components are non-repairable, but reliability is known. The system is non-repairable. In case of non-repairable system, we are not involving any cost, but we have the components, n components connected in series, C1, C2, Cn with their respective reliabilities R1, R2, Rn. This is a series structure. So we need to determine its reliability of the entire system. So we have some points to understand. Let's assume RT is the reliability of the system, RIT reliability of the ith component. Then we need to determine the reliability of the entire system at time t. The reliability means probability that time to failure is greater than small t. That is, it means in case of series structure, what is a series? Series structure means the system will work if all the components work. In case of series structure, the system will fail at the failure of a single component. If in a system, a component, if suppose we have a series structure of the components and a component fails, then definitely the entire system will fail. So in a series structure, we need the proper operation, proper functioning of all the components. It means we need to measure, we need to assess the survival time of each component. And then we need to consider the minimum. The minimum time, survival time of the components must be greater than the given period of time. Otherwise, the system will not be proper to use or not be reliable. So in case of series structure, the reliability is given by minimum of, these are the survival time of the components. And components T1, T2, T must be greater than T. Otherwise, system will collapse. So it means because we are considering here components independent, so we can take that each individual time to failure of the component must be greater than T, T1 greater than T, T2 greater than T, Tn greater than T. Or that is, these are independent to each other, so it becomes the product. So this becomes the product of probability of Ti greater than T. But product is the component reliability. Ti greater than T means the ith component reliability. So this becomes, it means in a series structure, the reliability of the system becomes the product of the reliability of the components. Product of the reliability of the components. So this is the expression for the reliability. Now we take particular case. Suppose the failure rate, or you can say hazard rate of the ith component is HIT. If hazard rate is HIT, then the reliability of the ith component is given by e raised power integral from 0 to t hazard rate HIT. This one. Yes. So thus reliability of the system is given by product reliability. Put their values. So we can have e raised power minus integral 0 to HU du. HU is the hazard rate of the entire system, which is the sum of the hazard rates of the components. So this can provide the reliability of the system. Then suppose the components are identical in nature, having the same constant failure rate, then we can have the reliability of the component is integral e raised power integral from minus 0 to t lambda du. It becomes e raised power minus lambda t. So this is the case for constant failure rate. So in this case, reliability will be given by, because we have n components connected in series, so in reliability of the entire system will be e raised power minus n lambda t. If we have the values of n, lambda and t, then we can determine the reliability of the system at a particular time t. Now we shall discuss the reliability of the parallel system. In case of parallel system, the system will function till the failure of the all components. It will not fail at the failure of a single component. The system will work till the failure of all components. So in this case, reliability is given by probability by definition t greater than t. That is, we can take its complement 1 minus probability t less than equal to t. That is, the maximum of the survival time must be less than equal to t. That becomes 1 minus product. We take its reciprocal, that is 1 minus reliability. So this becomes 1 minus product I from 1 to n, 1 minus RIT. RIT is the reliability of the ith components. Similarly, in case of constant failure rate, lambda I, reliability is given by e raised power minus lambda I. So this particular situation, reliability of the system is given by this expression. E raised power minus this. So this is the expression for determining the reliability of the system, in which n components are connected in parallel with constant failure rate lambda I. For identical components, we can have the values of lambda I same. That is, RT equal to 1 minus product this, because the components are identical in nature, having the same failure rate lambda. So we can have this expression for the reliability of the parallel system. Now, we can observe the reliability for particular values of the parameters. We have the parameters in this case. So we are considering here both types of structures, series and parallel simultaneously, and we are varying the number of components. Suppose we have 10 number of components and the structure is parallel, and with a time of operating in 10 hours and failure rate we are taking here 0.01. In that situation, we have this variation of reliability. In case of parallel system, if we see for single component, reliability will be 0.9048. But in case of series, because we have in both cases, we have a single component. If there is a single component, then there will be no difference in the reliability, whether it is a parallel structure or it is a series structure. But if we take two components, for a two components. It means when two components are connected in parallel, then reliability will be 0.99. What does it mean? The parallel structure have the more advantages so far reliability is concerned. It becomes more reliability. That is, reliability improves from 0.90 to 0.99. But in case of series, it declines 0.90 to 0.81. So it clearly indicates that parallel structure is better than that of series structure so far as reliability is concerned. Similarly, we can observe the effect of other parameters. Suppose our operating time is 10 hours, then we can have the varying failure rates. For varying failure rates and varying components, we can have the following results for the reliability. In case of series, for a single, there is no problem in it, 0.9048, 0.9048. But if we increase the failure rate, whether it is a series structure or a parallel structure, reliability declines. But that can be maintained. Reliability can be maintained by increasing the number of components. Because if we take two components, the reliability becomes 0.8187. But in your parallel, it becomes 0.9909. It means in a system, if we have the increasing failure rates, in that situation, we need to take more components in parallel structure so that reliability of the entire system can be maintained. So reliability of the system can be maintained either by reducing the failure rates, but sometimes failure rate is not in our control. In that situation, we can take the advantages of the structure of the components. So we need to join more components in parallel structure to maintain the reliability of the entire system rather than to reduce the failure rates. Because to reduce the failure rates, it is not in our hand. Failure can happen at any time. But to purchase or to take components is entirely depends on our capacity. So we can maintain the system reliability with the help of the number of components. Yes. Now, so study reveals that reliability of a system decreases with the increase of failure rate. Reliability of a system either parallel or series, decreases with the increase of operating time of the components. Reliability of a system with parallel configuration increases with the increase of number of components, while it declines in case of series. Effect of failure rate on reliability of the system can be reduced. Sometimes our interest is to reduce the failure rate, but the effect of failure rate can be reduced up to a considerable level by increasing the number of components in parallel configuration. This is the best method to reduce the effect of failure rate as well as to improve the reliability of the system, that we need to take more components in parallel configurations. Then we discuss the reliability of the parallel series structure. In case series parallel structure, we are considering a series parallel structure. Series parallel means we have several components, several subsystems, first subsystem, second subsystem, jth subsystem, mm subsystem, which are connected in parallel, which are connected in series, but in each subsystem, the components are connected in parallel. 1, 2, 3, up to n components are connected. So all these m subsystems are connected in series, but in each the components are connected in parallel. So we can say all these subsystems are identical in nature so far the number of components are concerned. So the reliability of this type of structure means first determine the reliability of this system, then this system, then this system, then this system, then use the formula for the series configuration. That is make the product. So this is a parallel system, determine the reliability of the parallel subsystem, then multiply all these reliability, then we can have the reliability of the series parallel structure and given by this. If we take this, then reliability is given by RST equal to the product of the number of reliability of the subsystems, product of the reliability of the number of subsystems. That is 1 minus product of the reliability of the subsystem, which is given by this power m, because the subsystems are same. So we have m number of subsystems, it becomes power m. So similarly we can determine mean time to system failure. This is just the integral of the reliability of this. Then we can determine the reliability of such system for particular case. Suppose the hazard rate is constant in nature, then we can have system reliability given by 1 minus 1 minus e to the power lambda power n power m, and MTS is given by this. After suppose the components are identical in nature with constant failure rate lambda, then we can have the reliability is equal to RST equal to this much, and the mean time to system failure is just the integral. After getting its integral value, then we can have the results for MTSF is given by this result. So this will be the MTSF. And by the integral theory, we can make its integral by substitution method, or we can take yn equal to z, then we can have this MTSF is given by this. So we have the results for the mean time to system failure. This for if we have m equal to, for particular value m equal to 1, what does it mean? M equal to 1 is if we have a single subsystem in the system, then we can have MTS which is given by 1 by lambda times this. This is just the mean time to system failure of a parallel system, single parallel system. So is case of single parallel system of n components. Suppose if we take reliability of each component PT, then reliability of the system will be this much. Then after taking logarithm, so these results provide a better way to determine. Sometimes we have the reliability, non-reliability of the system. Sometimes we need to determine how many components are required to achieve this reliability. So these formulas, these results will provide the number of components required. We can determine the number of components n equal to n is given by log of 1 minus RT raised power 1 by m divided by log of 1 minus PT. PT is the reliability of the component, RT is the reliability of the entire system, m is the number of subsystems, n is the number of components required. So if we know the reliability of suppose our interest is to achieve the reliability of the entire system, and we have a system of m subsystems, then if we know the reliability of each component, then we can determine how many components are required to achieve the reliability of the system. So by this formula, we can determine the number of components required to achieve the required reliability of the system. So we can have this result. Similarly, we can have another type of structure, that is parallel series structure. In this case, let's consider a parallel series structure of order Mn. Order Mn, what do we mean by order Mn? Order Mn means we have m number of subsystems which are connected in parallel. This is the first subsystem, second subsystem, mth subsystem. In each subsystem, the components are connected in series. So that's why we call it as a parallel series configuration. So in this case, we need to determine reliability of each system, and each system is itself a series system. So the product of the reliability of the components, then product of the reliability of this component, then product of the reliability of this component, and then use the formula for parallel configurations. So we can have the reliability of the parallel series structure. So this will be the formula. RST becomes this. This will be the reliability. And by integral of this, we can obtain the reliability mean time to system failure by using the well-known result. So particular situation, suppose the components have the constant hazard rate, lambda I, HIT equal to lambda I, then we can have reliability component reliability is e raised power lambda t. Put their values in the system reliability formula. So we can have this result. So then we can have mean time to system failure by this result. Suppose each components are having the constant failure rate lambda and identical in nature, then we can have reliability of the system this and mean time to system failure this. After integral, using integral theory, we can have mean time to system failure is given by 1 by n lambda summation I from 1 to m 1 by I. For identical components, we can have this result. So in this case, again, we have a result which can be used to determine the number of components required in a parallel series structure. What is this? That is log of 1 minus RST is for 1 by n log of PT. If our interest is to determine the reliability and number of components are given, or if our interest is to determine the number of components to achieve a particular reliability, then we can use this formula to determine both ways, both types of values. So now we can see the variation or the effect of number of subsystems, number of components, the operating time, the failure rates on reliability and MTS of these type of structures. If we see the first column, that is reliability for the system is series parallel structure. We are considering here first series parallel structure. Then our interest is to observe the reliability. For the parameters lambda is 0.01, t is 10, 10, 10 means the operating time is 10. Then we can have m equal to 1. It means we have only a single subsystem in which 5 components are given. And then what we see that with the in case of a series parallel structure, with the increase of number of components, reliability goes on increasing. 0.90 to 0.99, then 0.999, so goes on increasing. It means in this structure, series parallel structure, the reliability can be improved with the increase of the number of components. But if we increase the number of subsystems, but it declines, reliability declines. So there is no need to increase the number of subsystems in case of series parallel structure. However, we should prefer to increase the number of components. Similarly, the trend can be observed for the mean time to system failure. So these are the observations. Graphically, it is very much clear that M and N, if we increase M, then there is a decline in the reliability. But if we increase the components, there is an increase in the reliability. Similarly, we can see the effect of other parameters on reliability of this system, number of components, and like this. So what we conclude, reliability, mean time to system failure of a series parallel system keep on increasing with the increase of the number of components in a system, while their values decline with the increase of subsystem, failure rate, and operating time. So we need to control only the, yes. There is no effect of operating time on mean time to system of a parallel series structure. Similarly, finally, we conclude that series parallel structure is more, yes, if you see again this result, there is no effect of operating time on mean time to system failure of series parallel structure. Thus, reliability of a series parallel system, which is allowed to operate for long duration with low quality components, can be increased only by increasing the number of components in a subsystems. So these are the graphical representation, graphical or presentation of the parallel series structure. In case of parallel series structure, the components increase in components declines the reliability, but increase in number of system helps in improving the helps in improving the system reliability. Yes. So in case of parallel series structure, we need to increase the number of subsystems. But in case of series, we need to increase the number of components in the subsystems. So these are the graphical representation of this. So what we conclude, reliability and MTS of a series system go on increasing with the increase of number of subsystems with fixed number of components and operating time, while their values decline with the increase of failure rate, operating time, number of components in a subsystem. There is no effect of MTS of there is no effect of operating time on mean time to system failure of a parallel series system. Reliability of a parallel series system with more operating time and high failure rate can be increased by increasing the number of subsystems. Thus, what we conclude that a series parallel system is more reliable to use than that of the parallel series. So far as this reliability aspect is concerned, what we finally conclude that we should prefer parallel structure or the series. We should prefer series parallel structure or the parallel series structure of the components, so far as exponential failure laws are concerned. So these are the references used to develop the theories, and we hope that most of the aspects of the talk have been covered. And if there is any doubt or any query regarding this, so I'm here to answer the query. So these are so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
The meeting is now open for sharing. Dear participants, if you have any queries, you may ask now. Dear participants, if you have any queries, you may ask now.
Yes, any question? Madam, how many participants joined?
61, sir.
61 participants. Okay, so might be from the background of engineering and computer science and some reliability engineers. Are there any who is from the background of reliability engineering and from the field of reliability?
Hope no, sir. Most of
Okay.
the students from MSc Statistics and
Oh,
also
MC
research,
statistics. Oh, okay,
yes,
okay, okay.
and research scholars
Oh, okay, research
from
scholars.
various
Is
universities.
there any research scholar who is working in this area, reliability?
Yes, sir, but I don't know exactly who is working with the reliability.
Yes, I invite questions, query from anyone. Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Okay, hope there is no questions.
Okay.
So now I call upon Ms. Sini KP, Research Scholar, St. Thomas College Autonomous Thrissur, to deliver vote of thanks. Over to you, Sini.
Yeah, am I audible, Gitu?
Yes, Sini.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Christ College, Iringalakuda, and the entire team here, I am very hearty gratitude to our speaker, Professor S.C. Malik sir, Department of Statistics, MD University, Haryana, for sharing his graceful words and informative presentation with us on the topic reliability analysis of non-repairable systems. Many of our research scholars are currently working on this area, reliability. So we have been fortunate to have the renowned identity from academic. So once again, I want to extend my generous thanks to our speaker, Professor S.C. Malik sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very for nice words. Thank you.
Thank you, Sini. And once again, thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Srijit V, Assistant Professor, Government College for Women, Trivandrum, to introduce our second speaker for the day. Over to you, sir.
Very good afternoon to all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I am extremely thankful to all the organizers of this conference for giving me such an opportunity. First of all, I came to know that the conference is organized as a tribute to the head of the Department of Statistics and the controller of examinations, Dr. Davis Anthony. In fact, I have some experiences with him in connection with the meetings of Kerala Statistical Association. I cannot forget the advices and support given by him in those days. Still, I remember in one day I came across some. I was very busy with some official meetings, and I couldn't attend my duty of KSA. So suddenly he took over charge and told me that don't worry, I manage everything here. So don't worry. In fact, I could not forget it. So it is one of my. So I remember the key as of my greatest privileges. And another thing is that I'm extremely happy because this is an opportunity to introduce my classmate, Dr. Vinu CT, to this conference. And another classmate, Dr. Sister Josephine David, as the general opportunity, I think. And about Vinu CT, he completed his MSc from St. Thomas College, Pala, MTech from Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, and PhD from IIM Bangalore. He is a very eminent academician. He is the principal investigator of a major project funded by the National Stock Exchange India Limited. He has half a dozen international publications in very reputed journals. So in these circumstances, I'm extremely happy to introduce Dr. Vinu CT to you, to all the participants. I wish all of you have a wonderful and a very informative experience. Welcome, Vinu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Srijit, for your kind words. Okay, right. I'm glad to see my friends, and I wish this would have been a offline. Okay, I wish it could have been an offline conference, so I could have met you all in personally, but online, it is better than not having the conference. So in that way, it is good. And I'm associated with the Christ College for the last 4 years. So I try to attend. So whenever a program or a conference happens, Devi sir calls me. I mean, do you have time for a talk? Or so I'm glad to be here as a speaker here. But today I haven't selected any research topic. Okay. Actually, Sebastian sir is also there. He is my teacher. He's my favorite, one of my favorite teacher at St. Thomas College. So, sir, good afternoon. Okay, so today's topic. So there are two recent topics. This is I'm still touching on at a basic level only on this topic. Am I audible? Is there any problem with the voice or connection?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, and the second thing is I would like to be more interactive. So, in between also the students can ask questions. Is that option is given, or is it towards the end all the question answer will happen?
So it's permissible.
Okay.
So your convenience.
Right. Okay, let me share my slides. So I have two monitors, so that's why when I do the presentation, it goes. 1 second. I don't know how do I do that. Could you see me?
Yes, sir. Machine learning and statistics.
Okay, as I mentioned in the beginning, there are two reasons for picking up this particular topic. The first reason is that in the early February, I was taking interview for the next year student, the next year MBA student. So they write this exam called CAT. After that, during the interview, most of them are engineers. Okay, so the MBA's crowd, almost 90% are engineers. And so during the interview, I asked, they mentioned that, they are interested in machine learning and artificial intelligence. And then I asked, do you know any algorithms in machine learning? Okay, so then they said that linear regression. So that is what most of them were answering. So they were all saying that the linear regression is a machine learning algorithm. Okay. So we'll see the contrast between the machine learning and statistics, right? But before, second reason is that when I was doing my MSc statistics, so I see that the machine learning, so this is most of the algorithms are heuristics. If you have studied MSc statistics and all, probably you studied this clustering, all this hierarchical clustering and non-hierarchical clustering. So those is one example for machine learning. So it's more of a heuristics, and so I didn't have much respect. So on the other side, when I look at the statistics, it is there's a very good theory. It's all built upon a very good theory and good interpretation. But on the other side, machine learning is just like a heuristic. So I didn't have much respect. And so during my research, or towards the, last 5-10 years only, I've been doing lots of work on machine learning. But before that, I didn't have much respect on machine learning. But I found, so I always thought that, this is like machine learning is a substitute for statistics, and the statistics is substitute for machine learning. So that was the idea I had. So, but now, it's a very different, actually. It is in terms of the purpose itself, it's very different. So now itself, I'll reveal the suspense that, So statistics we do when we are looking for an explanation. You look in terms of modeling something, like modeling, like maybe in a company, the attrition, why employees are leaving, right? So, and you model this attrition, that is yes or no. If the particular employee left the organization, then it would be yes. If it is not, then no. So that would be your dependent variable, and all other variable would be the independent variables. Okay, so it is the logistic regression we use. So it will be mainly used it as for the explanation. We would be able to talk about what are the significant factors influencing an employee is leaving the organization. Okay, and we can also do a prediction. Okay, but when it comes to prediction, the machine learning will have an upper hand. Okay, and so there are lots of algorithms are there on the prediction side. But if your objective is purely on prediction, so machine learning will have an upper hand. So we'll see the details of how it is being different, and we will see that. So in general, it is like so when it comes to an explanation or inference about the population, we use statistics. When it comes to prediction, machine learning will have an advantage. So that is the way in industry people these models. Okay, and the starting example, like the regression as a machine learning. This is my take. Okay, maybe people can have a different opinion. So when you are doing regression, and then you can take it as a machine learning algorithm. Okay, and when you are doing a regression and you are concerned about the validity of the assumption, then it comes to the statistical modeling. Okay, with this I will start the presentation. Okay, so this is the plan. So I made of like a 30 minutes presentation only, 30-40 minutes presentation. So what is machine learning, and just contrast between machine learning and statistics. We'll also look at some of the similarities, and what is the role of machine learning in statistical modeling. If your purpose is machine learning, so if your purpose is the explanation, and will machine learning will be of any use. So these are things we mainly look at today. Okay, so before starting machine learning, so the impact of machine learning in our life is very big. We don't even realize that. Okay, so I'll just show you a few examples. So this ML is a short form for machine learning. So this is the books recommendation, Amazon book representation. I just copied it from my feed. Recently, I bought a few books for my daughter. So then it is been suggesting, or those books on that line. Okay, and this is the another example is the this is a screenshot of my spam folder. And so when you check your email, right, automatically the spam mail and the other mails have been segregated. So this is actually a big deal, because it is like, if you have an institute account and all, like more than it could be in spam related emails. And so if it is automatically separated, and so it's the starting point of that kind of a model is like a naive based classifier. From that, this separation been or the separating the spam mails. And then even if you just search on machine learning itself, even in the Google search also, right? I mean, so there also it picks the appropriate advertisement in the beginning, right? So when I was searching, so I faculty at IIM Trichy, and so the Google may not realize that I'm a professor. I'm also teaching a subject called machine learning. It is not realizing it, but it is showing you, right, the grade learning. So that's in Chennai. So they have various programs on machine learning. So that advertisement is shown it in the beginning, right? And then you also come across like devices like this or Google Homes, and in metros, there will be more and more people would be buying something like this. I mean, I'm not sure about what the other situation. For example, in my campus, at least 10 or 15 faculty will have a device like this. Okay, the Alexa or a Google Home or Fire Stick or device like this. Okay, so here also, when you can ask questions like hi Alexa, or so you could ask question and it will answer. So all the natural language processing would be going behind that. Okay, that's also a machine learning algorithm is behind that. Okay, this is from my Twitter, and or when in Facebook also you suggested friends and all that, right? So recommended movies, suggested friends, all these are in a way like machine learning algorithm, recommender system algorithms. Okay, and how big the impact is. I have a small video. So this is real examples. I'll just show you the video and then we'll talk. It's just 2 minutes video. You can see the video?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is by Charles Duhigg. He is the author of the book called The Power of Habit. Okay, so let's listen and then...
Did you know that by studying shoppers' habits, companies can predict what you want to buy? And sometimes that's a problem. A few years ago, for instance, a father walked into a Target store in Minnesota, clutching an advertisement. He started yelling at the manager. "Did you send this to my daughter?" he asked. The ad contained all these coupons for baby clothes and bottles and formula and cribs. "She's still in high school and you're sending her ads for baby clothes?" he screamed at the manager. "Are you trying to encourage her to get pregnant?" The store manager apologized and a few days later called the guy to apologize again. The father was somewhat abashed. "It turns out there's been some activities in my house that I wasn't aware of," he told the manager. "I had a long conversation with my daughter. She's due in August. It turns out I owe you an apology." A computer model that could figure out which shoppers were pregnant just by studying their shopping habits. Identifying pregnant women is the holy grail of retail. People with new babies are so tired that if you can get them inside your doors to buy bottles and formula, they'll end up buying everything else they need as well. And if a new parent starts shopping at Target, they'll keep coming back for years. So how did Target start marketing to parents before the baby arrived? Lots of people buy lotion, but a Target data analyst noticed that women on Target's baby registry started buying very large quantities of lotion in about their second trimester. Someone else noticed that in about their 20th week, pregnant women started loading up on vitamins. By crawling through the data, Target was able to identify about 25 different items that, when analyzed together, would allow them to predict if someone was pregnant. Target's program was so accurate that it could assign almost any regular shopper a pregnancy prediction score. But the problem with all this data, as the father in Minnesota demonstrated, is that Target couldn't let on how much they knew. After all, shoppers might get a little bit upset if they received an advertisement making it clear that Target was studying their reproductive plans. So how did Target solve this problem? They started mixing in ads for bottles and formula with other products that had nothing to do with pregnancy, like lawnmowers and wine glasses, things that they knew a pregnant woman wouldn't necessarily be interested in. As a result, the baby ads looked random, and it worked. Women started using the coupons, and Target's mom and baby sales exploded. The lesson? Habits matter, and we can either choose to shape our habits ourselves, or we can wait till someone else shapes them.
Okay, you got the idea, right? This is a US example. Okay, don't need to worry about I mean, it's not Indian situation, but still, you know, as more and more we addict to the mobile and WhatsApp or Facebook, you know, so there will be a systematic pattern will be formed. And so it is actually even more easier for the big companies so you may find that, you know, you are looking for some particular product, and so in 2 days, suppose you get an offer on this product, you will definitely going to buy, right? So you are looking for maybe you are looking for to buy a new shoe or maybe a new laptop, and then you found that 10% offer on a Dell laptop, or right. So this is the way the shopping data, you know, the pattern can be exploited. Okay, so this is one example, and there would be a this is actually kind of the example we should be more concerned. There's something called the Cambridge Analytica scandal. So this is like all the social network data being used for it's about the US again, the USA. So the previous US election, not the current one, the before that. So they've been, I mean, the allegation is like, around 86 millions of the Facebook profiles, and so they have data about that many people, at least 100 data point they have. And with this data, they were trying to do something called micro-targeting, and to make it more polarized on the views and the political views. And so that is the scandal came up. I mean, it was in the last year came up. Okay. So yeah, this is something to be a little bit of critical also about that. Okay. So sometimes, you know, when I also get a little scared, like because when I talk to my friend about something I wanted to buy, and you know, after the call 5 minutes, when I search Google, right, when I see these kind of ads in the beginning itself, I'm very skeptical on that. But these kind of level of using the data, no company will admit it. So, but this is something another concern thing, or the ethical part we all need to be concerned about. But still, behind that, it is the machine learning, and so that algorithm. So it is not targeting any particular political party or anyone particular. So they are all being driven by, you know, what all feeds or what all post is populated such a way that it will get more clicks or more views. So that is the the algorithms are designed, but ineffective. It has made it into it can make it into a very polarized. It can make the people more polarized. Okay, so the another term you would hear with machine learning is the artificial intelligence, right? So this is so artificial intelligence various paradigm, and if you look at the milestone, so there are start with the ELISA or the chatbot machines, and its expert system were considered to be the AI. Then it can so this robotics or there was more stress on AI. From 2012 onwards, the more stress on AI is that AI is the dominant paradigm is the AI is nothing but the prediction machine. So there is a competition on image classification being offered in 2007. It's called ImageNet, and so there were that competition. The various the prize money was good, and from 2012 onwards, the new algorithm. 2015, so that competition was there were the crores of images were there, and there were 22,000 categories were there. Okay, so looking at the image, you need to categorize all this. Something like if you look at an animal, by looking at the picture, it can classify it as a cat or dog or something like that. Okay, and so in 2015, it was able to beat our human classification. When some of the pictures, when if you look at it is for us also it is difficult to recognize it is what classification it is, right? So there were some example, you can find it in internet, like the cookies may look like the face look like a dog itself. So that kind of so 2015 onwards, the computer actually crossed the human level, the classification rate. So from there onwards, there's an algorithm called deep learning algorithm. So that has been kind of the backbone for the artificial intelligence now. So right, so the machine learning and artificial intelligence, now there's a close connection. So before that, it was more into the agents, robotics, where this optimization program and all those were having a much more importance than the data analysis or the machine learning. But from 2012 onward, artificial intelligence is machine learning. Okay, right. So let's look at how do we define machine learning. Machine learning is a field of study that gives computers that ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Okay, so very specific definition would be the second one. A computer program is set to learn from experience with respect to some class of task T and performance measure P. If its performance at task T as measured by P improves with experience E. It looks like very abstract. Okay, you take the E as a data, the experience as a data, and the task as a classification. Okay, let's look at, you must have, or all of you are familiar with the iris data set, right? There are 3 flowers are there, right? So the classification is the task, and performance is, for the time being, we can look at the accuracy. Okay, accuracy, if it is correctly identified, the classification is correctly identified, how much percentage of it is identified, we can take it as the performance. I mean, there are various measures for classification, but for the simplicity, we are taking that. So with learned from data with respect to classify the iris flowers, and we will evaluate the accuracy there. And if the accuracy increases more and more data. So then you can call it as it's a learning. We can say it as learning. Okay. So the essence of machine learning is like and we cannot pin it down mathematically, and we have data on it. So in this situation, the machine learning will have a clear upper hand. Okay, so there is a pattern there. We all know pattern there, and we cannot pin it down mathematically. Because if you write it in mathematics, it looks so cumbersome, right? And we have a data on it. Okay, maybe to give you an example, you think about recognizing the digit from the handwritten digit. Okay, so when you write 0, and how computer understand things is based on the pixels. Okay, so there are like 100 into 100 metrics or 10 into 10 metrics, right? So when you fill this handwritten images, when the ink is there, it is present 1. When the ink is not there, it is 0. If it is 100 into 100 metrics, it is actually saying that we have 10,000 variables we have. Okay, so based on 10,000 variable, and how do we see that? How do we say that the 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or how do we recognize that number? So we clearly know that there is a pattern exists. We cannot put it in mathematically. We cannot put it that easily. Okay, so these kind of a situation, the machine learning will have a very clear-cut advantage than the statistical model. Okay, any questions till now?
Dear participants, if you have any queries, you may ask now.
Okay, right. Right. So then the machine learning, we see the definition of machine learning. So there also there are 3 approaches are there: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. The supervised learning and unsupervised learning, we could also see the parallel statistical model also we can see. We'll talk about that. Supervised learning is that know the target variable. We know the target variable, something like a modeling, so regression or logistic regression, right? Unsupervised learning is that we look at the natural grouping. Other example would be, you could say that principal component analysis. So there is no dependent variable concept we have, right? So we have the component, we are not, there is no target variable there, right? And the third is the reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is very much used in the robotics or the artificial intelligence. It is like on the iterative way, based on the feedback, that learning procedure, that is comes that is the reinforcement learning. So people say some example would be like what is, okay, so initially it would say that it's a 6, then we say no, it's not correct, then we say 5, then we say it's not correct. When it say 4, so then it understands, the computer understands, okay, 2 plus 2, right? So various tasks, it will get the feedback. Based on the feedback that the learning algorithm that comes as that we can call it as the reinforcement learning. Okay, in supervised learning, right, as I mentioned, the target variable is known, and so we will have a training data. Based on the data, we come up with the model, the target. Idea is that when you don't have the target variable, so using this learning, we predict the score. Okay, so examples would be the classification or prediction. The statistical models are like logistic regression and regressions. Okay, so the machine learning algorithms are like the support vector machines or naive-based decision tree random forest. There are many are on the classification models. Okay, unsupervised. Could think of clustering. Clustering is not actually a statistical model. It's a heuristic, right? So probably the statistical counterpart would be the estimating the mixture models. Okay, mixture model, or that would be the statistical model for. Okay, so in unsupervised learning, there's something you could. The association model is also there. So this is very much used in market basket analysis. So especially in superstores and all, how do you arrange the items and all. So there's a fictional example is there, fictional case study on diapers and beer. So it's again a US context. So they keep diapers and beer together, and where in US, like the people who buy, the diapers are, where they have the newborn baby, so they will not be able to go outside and have a party or something, so they will be at home only. So they would prefer to have drinks at home itself. So this is a very famous example. So autoencoders are there. That is another similar to the principal component analysis using the deep learning. Another similar to the principal component analysis. Okay. Yeah. So now we look at how we will contrast. Right. I mean, so we see that. Let's look at the supervised modeling where the target is known. Suppose the target is a classification. Okay, target is a classification, and statistical models are like we can use a discriminant analysis or a logistic regression, and so in machine learning you could use a support vector machine or a random forest. Those models are there. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, so when it comes to prediction, so the machine learning will have an advantage. Machine learning algorithms are a black box. When I say black box, is something like it is something like you have data and you go to the data and you give it to an astrologer, and astrologer giving me the what could be the predicted value. It is something like that. I mean, it's not that bad, but I'm just telling you what black box is. Okay, so you don't know why that particular high prediction or low prediction, you won't be able to explain much. But on the other side, the statistical model, we have a clear explanation, right? And we know how much each factor contribute to it, or is it really significant, right? I mean, like the example the attrition, right? Is it the job satisfaction, or the workload, or what is actually driving employees leaving this organization, or the salary, right? So that kind of level of interpretation can be given. Okay. So then it's suitable for a large and small data set. But statistics is, I mean, we have a condition that the number of parameters, but it's actually not very suitable for very large data set. When I say very large data set, is like you're doing a regression on so in general, the idea in statistics is that more the data points, so we have more the information. But when you do modeling, so I did a modeling in one of the bank in US, is Discover Credit Card Bank. Observations were 5.5 crore observations were there, and there were 3,000 variables were there. When you do this kind of a regression, and because of too many observations are there, even a small difference also it will show it as significance. and it is too difficult to manage. First of all, as the observation increases, the estimation is also take time. And one way of managing it is that you get away with that the p-value as 0.05. Then look for maybe very smaller value, p-value is 0.001 or something. So that way you can make a call and all. But in practice, it is not that much feasible. Like from the 3000 variable to come up with the right set of variables and look for the meaningful interpretations and all. I mean that the joint dynamics, it is not, as the variable increases, it is not that easy. Okay, and so in machine learning, there's not much assumptions. There's one assumption there. I'll talk about that. That's common with machine learning and statistics. And but for regression, there is a clear assumption about the stochasticity or the randomness. You have an assumption, right? The error follows a normal distribution, and there are a set of conditions also there, right? Sign correlated and constant variance, all those assumptions are there. So in machine learning, the emphasis on the prediction accuracy. It's prediction accuracy, and here emphasis on the validity of the assumptions and the statistical significance. So these two we look in the statistical models, and on the other side, the machine learning purely looking at the prediction accuracy, right? So yeah. So the other thing why machine learning is preferred over statistics for prediction, it is able to capture many non-linear features. It's able to capture. So as I mentioned you in the beginning itself, if you look at the regression, if you are not looking at the assumption, you can treat it as like a machine learning algorithm. So when you do a machine learning algorithm with we add all the variables, we add all the square terms, all interaction terms, cubic terms, all these things you can add, and you can get a kind of a better model than the model without the square term or interaction. Okay, so one issue why with this particular approach is that it can go into an overfit model. So that is why in machine learning, so they'll have a approach that train and test concept. They split the data into two. The training data set where they build the model, and all they look at is how it behaves on the test data set, how the accuracy is there. One way to control these overfitting models. Okay, one common assumption for both machine learning and statistics is that the future will continue to be like the past. Like if you are doing any modeling, so history repeats itself, or whatever pattern we saw it in the past, that will continue future also. So that is the basic, that's the common assumption for all supervised learning. Okay. So ML will be preferred when when the purpose is prediction, and a pattern exists and we cannot pin down it mathematically. And and there are situations that pattern will changes frequently. When I say changes frequently, like it would be for a short term or a small time period, the pattern exists, and then it would change, right? So these kind of phenomena, it's difficult to model it in a statistical model. Something like a recommender system. In the movies, what happens is when there is a hit movie there, and that particular genre will get more and more attention. For example, suppose in Drishyam 2 is in Kerala, it's released, right? I mean, OTT release. So maybe, it can, now the movie industry is a little different now in the online scenario. So people may more get into the thriller genre movies, okay, or maybe one good horror movie is getting hit, or so there would be, the recommender system, so people would prefer more towards that, right? So sometimes the purchasing behavior or the recommender system, all those, that sometimes it's frequently changes the patterns, right? I mean, at least some part of the. So there also it is like the machine learning would be like have a little more advantage because statistical model, it is a little time taking. Okay, it is it's like, it is, you are trying to look for an explanation, right? So you need to have a clear understanding about the what context you are dealing with it, and you need to understand the proper understanding of the variables and all, right? So by that time, when you do all this analysis, that the term would have been changed. Okay, so there also the machine learning will be preferred. Okay, so the role of machine learning in statistical modeling, right? So how do I use the machine learning in statistical modeling is that, so there are certain cases we are looking for explanation. See, for example, marketing research. So they are looking at, what is driving customers to buy certain products, or what are the best channel for increasing sales, right? So there people look for an explanation rather than the prediction, because they would try to improve upon the dependent variables, like more conversion rate or more sale, right? So that is why they look for an explanation. So in this scenario, we have to rely on statistical model, but we could also do a machine learning model. So when you do a machine learning model, and suppose if it turned out to be good in terms of a prediction, so it is a clear indication of that there's a no presence of non-linearity. Okay, non-linearity or interaction effects. Okay, so that kind of gives you a hint for the non-linearity, and then you can carefully study at a variable by variable level, and you could add this non-linearity in the statistical model, and you could improve the regression. Okay, and also the machine learning algorithm also you can use it as an upper bound for how good you can improve, right? So in practice, the people have very different expectation about all this analytics models, right? So sometimes here is the data. I want a model with 80% of R square. Okay, so it is kind of a it is a meaningless statement, and so depending on the context, how much signal is there, how much noise is there, that ratio would be very different. For example, if you are fitting a regression model on a stock market returns, you will not get a R square more than 10%, right? I mean, even 5%. How macro level you are looking at, that R square can change, but you will not get a good R square there. But on the other side, if there is a clear pattern there, like maybe monthly sales or something, when you add seasonality and the trend, you may even get a 95% of R square itself. So that ratio between the signal means how much we can explain, so that we can call it a signal. The noise is the error part. Okay, so when you do this machine learning, you will be able to get up to what extent the statistical model can be improved, right? So there is no point of if the signal to noise ratio is less, there's no point of spending more time on improving upon because when you have more and more independent variables, so you have many possibilities are there. So usually people use as stepwise regression, and you could also try various transformation, so various way you could, that permutation combinations are very big. Okay, so this machine learning also kind of gives you kind of an idea for that, how much it can be improved. The other would be, it's the same way for machine learning also, the statistical modeling also an important part. So what I realized that, so the statistical modeling, it would give you a very good data reasoning. So, and that is very important. And so without statistics, people look for machine learning and all, right? So they'll always think that, sometimes they think that it's all magic. You do some combination, it works, not works. But if you know statistics, it is actually like, that, by looking at the scatter plot or by that intuitive idea will be much more than the analyst who is not experienced to the statistical knowledge. Okay. So this next slide is for the MSc statistics students only. Right. I don't know current curriculum, and but there are many online courses are available in the free in the internet. And so usually it will not take much time. Actually, the statistical modeling take lots of time. Machine learnings are all heuristics, so it will not take much time. So when it comes to machine learning, right? So the computer science student will have the same confidence that the statistician, because it's all heuristics, right? So there is nothing much to argue about it. Whichever gives you better accuracy, he is the winner, something like that, right? So idea to parallelly study machine learning, and because there are in the industry, all the buzzword all goes into the machine learning side. Okay, so in this is Coursera, there are like edX, or many platforms are there. So around 1,000 courses are on machine learning, right? Most of the courses are free, and if you can, without paying money, you can audit those courses. So it's an opportunity, and there are also competitions are also there, or mostly on machine learning related. And so the Kaggle competitions are there. So sometimes most of the data set will be big, so that's one problem. And when Kaggle also will have a machine inside, so when you have a web, you will have access to a super servers also. Like if you know the algorithm, there itself you can build the modeling, and that option also there. So these all are the way you could try out your learning of machine learning. And so if you are worried about I don't have a good machines, and my laptop is very old and it will not be able to run any software and all, Google Colab is there, so it will not use your processor. Even in a way you can even run it in your mobile itself, right? So the backend, it is a supercomputer. I mean, it's a reasonable computer runs in the backend, so you can run Python goes behind that. So there are two main languages are in this domain. So for machine learning, people mostly prefer Python, but when it comes to statistical model, people prefer R language. So, but both can be done it in Python or R. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it from my end.
Yes, thank you, sir. Dear participants, if you have any queries, you may ask now.
Why they have 10 of the videos? I mean, like,
I kindly request all our distinguished participants to switch on your videos.
No, I mean, I'm just curious, is it kind of, the bandwidth will be affected or something, right? So.
Yes, sir. Any queries? Hope no more queries.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, yeah. And like before, I mean, if any queries are there, then I'll wait. Otherwise, okay.
Okay. Now I call upon Miss Lynette George, Assistant Professor, Christ College Autonomous, Irinyalakuda, to deliver vote of thanks. Over to you, Lynette.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Good afternoon, one and all. On behalf of the Christ College Autonomous Irinyalakuda and the Department of Statistics and everyone who is gathered in online platform, I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Vinu CT for an illuminate session on machine learning and statistics. The points where Dr. Vinu told us was really informative and interesting. I'm pretty sure the precious knowledge that Dr. Vinu gave us will definitely help us in our studies and future. Once again, I would like to thank Dr. Vinu for taking out time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with the knowledge. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you. And before that, I'll also give my special thanks to Devi sir, and I think Devi sir is retiring this year, right?
Yes, yes.
I'm not sure I'll be able to come at that time, or because of all this COVID scenario, right? So I mean, it has been very happy to associate with you, and also associate with the statistics faculty also, Christ College, Sister Josephine David, and the other faculty, other teachers. Thank you for this opportunity, and hope next year, we will have an offline discussion. And right, thank you.
Thank you, Vinu, for joining with us in our border studies as a very active member in our border studies. I hope I can meet you again in Christ College, even though I retire from here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dear participants, kindly note that feedback form link is available in chat box. Once again, thank you all for participating in today's webinar, and hope to see you all again on 5th March 2021 at 2 p.m.